the judges' scorecards for the official decision. Howard Foster scores the bout 113-112, Catterall. Ian John Lewis scores the bout 114-111, Taylor. Victor Laughlin scores the bout 113-112 for your winner by split decision. And still...
Hi guys, Jamie from Boxing Life and welcome back to the channel. And today's video I'm obviously going to be talking about the controversial fight last night between Josh Taylor and Jack Catterall, which ended up with Josh Taylor getting a split decision. And yes, I am very much in favour this was pretty much a robbery. I can't understand really how Josh Taylor managed to get the decision. Having watched the fight now, I was actually at the fight last night, as you can see from some of the images on this video, and I had a fantastic time. The atmosphere was tremendous, like electric. You know, the Scots came out to have a great time and make an atmosphere, and it was hostile, you know, for I imagine Jack coming into that ring, you know, but despite all that and the crowd and the great atmosphere, you know, that doesn't matter, you know, at the end of the day. What matters is fair judging, good officiating, and I think overall it was a good fight in the sense that, you know, both guys were giving it their all. I don't think, I think, was it Marcus McDonald, the referee? I don't think he really helped the fight flow. I think he let Catterall clench far too often throughout the fight. However, that was the tactics Jack's team were going in. They knew Josh was probably going to want to be the aggressor in front of his home fans, and he knew he was going to want to fight in the inside. And Jack did a very good job tying up Josh Taylor throughout the fight. I also thought Jack did really well with his jab. You know, Josh couldn't get his head around his jab. He really couldn't. He really struggled to get past it. And when he was coming in to get on the inside, Jack was just peppering him off of that jab, and getting some really good counter shots, clean, crisp shots on Josh Taylor. Even from, you know, where I was sitting in the crowd, I could tell, you know, Catterall was landing pretty cleanly on Josh, and Josh tried to kind of come back into the fight, and he, you know, this is the thing, it wasn't like Josh Taylor was getting completely destroyed in there. I don't think that was the case at all. I think he was just, it's quite, and this is someone from the crowd, you know, and people around me as well, you know, you could tell he was not winning that fight. I wasn't scoring it on the night, you know, I was just enjoying my time there. You know, I looked at it this morning and he didn't win the fight. You know, it's so obvious. There wasn't any real swing rounds in my opinion. You know, I think Catterall won his rounds pretty clearly. Obviously Josh Taylor got points taken off him for that after the bell hitting Catterall, and then even the knockdown as well on top of that. I don't get the 114-111 scorecard. I can't wrap my head around that scorecard. I can maybe, you know, Victor Laughlin, you know, his scorecard 113-112, like, I don't know. Is there some sort of corruption going on? You know, I understand about the crowd making an impact on the judge's perception and stuff like that, and they've got a different viewpoint, but you know, I did a video recently on the Jacobs versus Ryder fight. Now, obviously that caused a lot of controversy, but people calling that as a robbery as well. But this fight, in my opinion, was far more a robbery than that fight. That fight was a lot closer in terms of in terms of some of the rounds where there was nothing really happening. Whereas with this fight, you know, Catterall was winning these rounds, I feel personally. You know, he was landing the cleaner shots on Taylor. Yes, Taylor was getting on the inside now and again, doing some good work. He started trying to get his jab off, you know, going into those kind of later rounds, and it just wasn't working for him. It was a real bad night from Josh Taylor, I'm not going to lie. Is there an issue with the weight, potentially? Is there something wrong, you know, with getting down to 140? You know, obviously he was claiming, oh yeah, he's like, oh, I've never felt stronger and all this about his weight, and I'm sure he probably did feel okay. Like, even when he won against Ramirez, you know, it probably was a struggle to get down to 140. You know, the guy's, you know, he's huge for the weight. I think he now needs to probably move up in weight. I think that's very clear for me anyway. You know, I'd like to see the rematch actually happen. I think Jack deserves it, especially with the horrible judging scores. You know, it's just, you feel sorry for the lad. You know, I think you work your whole life for something like that. You come into the hostile crowd and you don't get you clearly win and you don't get the decision. It puts people off from boxing. It makes people angry. It makes people not care about the sport. Unlike, obviously, I think I was obviously there in the night. You know, we all celebrated when Josh got the decision. It was more of a relief, I think, more than anything. You know, I think, as there was a lot of obviously there's lots of Scots in the crowd. It's home crowd for Josh Taylor, and we all wanted him to win, you know, in front of his home crowd, and it was more of a relief celebration more than anything, I think. But, you know, it's just funny, like, straight after it, you know, we all knew that he lost that fight. Everyone, you know, you talk to anyone after that fight, even from the crowd, it was obvious, and it's a shame, it really is. And like I said, guys, I don't know what happens from here. I think Jack deserves a rematch. I don't think Josh Taylor, you know, from listening to some of the interviews he's given, he seems pretty adamant that he won the fight, but of course he's going to say that. He's admitted that it was a bad night at the office. Yeah, it's like, I just don't know, you know, was it the pressure that got to him? I struggle to think that's the case, because I feel I've seen Taylor fight a couple of times now live, and I feel he always loves that type of atmosphere. And this is where I'm a bit confused about. And, you know, he says maybe the occasion got to him, or, you know, is it just the weight? Is it the tactics from his corner? What were they thinking? You know, it's a disappointing end for his, you know, run at 140 pounds. And personally, I'd like to see the rematch. I think Jack deserves it, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think Taylor will probably move up to 147 pounds, and I think the likes of Crawford, Errol Spence, these guys, even people like Jerron Ennis are going to be looking at Taylor thinking they can take this guy now. So yeah, you know, that's my thoughts, guys, on the fight. I want to finish off with this clip from Teddy Atlas, which kind of has summed up boxing for a long time. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
We can be anything we want to be, but sometimes even with that, life is unfair. This is the sport, the one sport where on any given night, a kid from anywhere, from dirt floors to where he was from a country that he didn't have the rights, he didn't have money, he had nothing but poverty, he didn't have parents, he didn't have anything. But he had it in his chest, in his heart, to work hard, to get in that ring, to be ready, to be trained. And on one given night, he can have his hand raised and be called champion of the world and make life fair, make the world fair. It's the only sport that can do that. The sport is beautiful, but the administrators of the sport, they stink.